Hi, and welcome to Soul Centered, finally. My name is Ariella Halevi, and we just want to invite you to the Soul Experience this morning on a Saturday morning. And we are so honored and excited that you are here. Just a little bit about Soul Centered. Soul Centered is a center for spirituality, meaning, and healing. And it's really a dream of ours that has been about 21, actually exactly 21 years today in the making. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
So today is our anniversary, and we are celebrating 21 years of a dream, of missing a lot of airplanes and flights and having a lot of long talks about our dream of owning and running a center for people to find their soul, to find healing, to find spirituality. And especially now in midlife, we're really working with people in midlife to help them find purpose and passion and clarity, and to help them really find their center in the midst of midlife, which can be chaos and hardships. So we are here to help people center that and center their souls. And today we are going to
Whatever she tells me. That's why we're still happily married, 21 years. Today we're going to have a culmination of our past 7 weeks of a journey. And it has been a journey, and many of you have joined us for it. Hi, Amy. Hi, John. Wow, it's a couple's day on the Soul Experience. Welcome. And we're going to be culminating this 7-week journey that we began Passover for Christians, Pentecost. Easter, and then 7 weeks, and then we culminate in Shavuot, which was the holiday yesterday, or Pentecost in Christianity. And it's a blueprint, it's a paradigm for us to do inner spiritual work, not just outer holiday work. Those are symbols of how we express what's going on internally. And so for the past 7 weeks, we've been exploring our spirit and how the divine spirit enters this world from a Kabbalistic perspective, really mapping out the Kabbalistic Sefirot, or the tree of life. Seen it, it looks sort of like a DNA strand, and been going layer by layer, 7 weeks, 7 steps into it. Thank you. Happy anniversary, says John and Amy. And today we're going to culminate in, so where does that leave us? And how do we receive all of that divinity that comes through and trickles down into this world in different ways? And that's our journey today, is really opening ourselves up and really using the paradigm, the model of the desert and the wilderness. And we'll be talking more about that. So for now, I guess we just sort of center ourselves and get settled and find peace. And that's the word Shalom. One word represents so much. It's the universal sound, Om, used in many traditions, and it really is supposed to help us center, get grounded, so that we can really experience the divinity in our lives.
So just the way to get centered and grounded is to take a deep breath. Breathe in Shalom as we begin to sing and chant, allowing the words to resonate inside of our bodies, our minds, and our hearts and our souls. Shalom. 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 And so as we travel into our sanctuary song, Hine Matov, an invitation to find the sanctuary within. We're going to talk about the desert today and how we discover the still small voice and the receiving of the divine's wishes, prayers, and hopes for us through finding sanctuary, through creating a literal sanctuary around us. So this is really an invitation for rebirth, for gathering. That's what we've been doing the last 7 weeks, is really gathering. So finding your space, imagine creating a beautiful sanctuary around you and then making it bigger and larger for the community, for the world that needs your healing and needs your peace and needs your sanctuary. Oh Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you again. Oh Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Hine matov, hine matov, umanayim, shevet achim, gam yachad, hine matov, umanayim, shevet achim, gam yachad.
So as we continue to really just kind of get settled and centered, we're going to be going into conversation probably sooner rather than later, kind of reformatting a little bit and trying to figure out the rhythm and the flow of what's optimal. But not yet. We'll do a few more centering, soul centering exercises. That is really what this is all about, so that we can have a deeper discussion. And with that, how about modeh, which is just a simple word. It's an ancient chant. It's the first words we're supposed to say from a Kabbalistic perspective to start the day with gratitude, because it simply means thank you. Todah means thank you. Modeh, modah.
Modeh ani lefanecha ruach chai vekayam. 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 So as we transition and move along in our soul centering experience, we go to Rabba Emunatecha, to this idea that there is a divine flow of abundance in our lives. So if you open your palms and if you open to receiving, really the first step in opening to receiving is to check in with your body and see if you are truly open to receiving. So looking at the ways in which we hold our bodies in the world, and that's really about the Sefirot. It's really about the divine energies in our bodies and how we balance the two. And so if you open the palms and you take your feet on the floor and you feel the center of the earth, bring your energy down into the center of the earth as you bring your energy up into the divine, and just really holding space for the divine abundance of love and prosperity and equality and balance, and just an abundance of all good things come into our lives. Rabba Emunatecha. Rabba Emunatecha, Rabba Emunatecha, Rabba Emunatecha, 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 Emunatecha.
Continue to journey into this space, really feeling a sense of energy coming into our lives, renewing, restoring. Shabbat, the Sabbath, is what we build this soul experience around on Saturday. We'll do it at other times and kind of put it onto other things. But when we do it on Shabbat, on the Sabbath, we're taking these ancient concepts of Shabbat, which means to sit. That's all it means. It's a sitting practice. Lots of spiritual practices have meditative sitting practices. So Shabbat L'Shevet means to sit, because in sitting, there's a sense of returning. So Shabbat also means teshuva, returning. And so it's a quieting, a sitting, a returning. What are we returning to? Our self, our authentic self, or we call it our soul. Call it whatever you want. It's this place that is truly you, the divine spark that is you. And so finding that and really feeling the energy come from Brich Rachamana, which is really a chant about energy and returning to that, which is us. Brich Rachamana Malke de Alma Mare de Hai Neshima Brich Rachamana Malke de Alma Mare de Hai Neshima Brich Rachamana Malke de Alma Mare de Hai Neshima Brich Rachamana Malke de Alma Mare de Hai. You are the source of life. You are the source of life for all that is, and your blessings flow through me. You are the source of life for all that is, and your blessings flow through me. Brich Rachamana Malke de Alma Mare de Hai Neshima Brich Rachamana Malke de Alma Mare de Hai Neshima. You are the source of life for all that is, and your blessings flow through me. You are the source of life for all that is, and your blessings flow through me. Just want to say hi to Barb. Thanks for tuning in, and Wendy, and my old friend, you're not that old, but we've been friends for a long time, Mark Friedman.
Hi, Mark. So as we transition, we're going to go into Olam Chesed, just really bringing in this kavanah, this intention about building the world with love. And right now, the Omer period, what we've just been through, is almost a gestation period. It's going underground and really rebirthing ourselves. And if you look at where we are in the world today and the absolute chaos that we are all in, the world is going through a rebirthing period. And so we have a choice here, as Shavuot, which we'll talk about, has brought to us at this time of our lives, is that we can sit in the devastation of the world, or we can build this world with love. And we can really move forward in love. And it takes one person at a time and a collective voice to move forward. So Olam Chesed. Olam Chesed Ibanei Yadadai Dadai Yadadai Dai 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 I will build this world from love. Yadadai, dadai, yadadai, dai. And you must build this world from love. Yadadai, dadai, yadadai, dai. And if we build this world from love, yadadai, dadai, yadadai, dai, then God will build this world from love. Yadadai, dadai, yadadai, dai. Olam chesed ibanei. Yadadai, dadai, yadadai, dai. Olam chesed ibanei. Yadadai, dadai, yadadai, dai. Should we do our chant and then one more talk?
Yes, so if you want to see the words, I think I put them in the link to this, but very easy words. This one's English, and really love this because it helps me connect to the world around me, right? To settle down, to settle in. It's very Native American, which always speaks to me, although I do think it comes from an Israeli rock band. But it really captures the essence of what it means to center, to soul center, to connect, earth and sky. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Mother, Father sky, heat of fire, drop of water, I can feel it in my body, in my spirit, in my soul again. Mother, Father sky, Heat of fire,
Heat of fire,
drop of water,
drop of water.
I can feel it in my body, in my spirit, in my soul. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya.
Hey ya, ho.
Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. So if you just joined us, welcome. I know Sandra Goldstein just joined us. Hi, Sandra. Love having you all joining us. We're going to go into the conversation around soul-centered. Every soul experience, we have a topic, and as I mentioned before, we've been marching through the desert, literally in the Torah, as the Israelites were going from Egypt to Israel, but figuratively on a spiritual quest, and that's what happens every year. That's why it happens at this time of year, because it's coming out of winter, coming into the spring, and really formally creating symbols and ritual in the springtime, as Ariella talked about, a time of renewal. And so not just watching it on the trees go through it. We're looking at our trees outside that are blossoming, and flowers and birds coming out and chirping, and us, like there's a coming out from our spirit. And so we map that out on the journey from Passover to Shavuot, from Easter to Pentecost for Christians, and 7 weeks of 7. And so we've been going through this process and going through a desert. And I think that's what we're going to focus on right now, is imagery of the desert and how that relates to the holiday of Shavuot or Pentecost and where we are on the calendar.
Yeah.
You want to keep going?
No. It's also a period of receiving. It's a period of time when we have taken our 7 weeks and we have learned, whether you follow the Omer or not, it's a natural, as Baruch said, it's a natural progression of going from winter to spring, is a gestation period of learning how to receive. We don't go straight into receiving. We go into this almost dormant moment when, the seeds, we planted seeds outside, and I keep thinking about that. They had to, before they started sprouting, they had to start receiving water. They had to receive the sunlight after the winter. They had to receive so much nourishment in order to come out into this rebirthing process. So Shavuot is this process of coming into the desert and then receiving, once we sit inside of it, receiving the divine's light and a rebirthing for ourselves personally.
But before you can receive the light, I've been reading Sue Monk Kidd's newest book, Waiting on the Heart, I think it's called. It's amazing. She's amazing, and it's amazing. And one of the things she reminds us is, which I'm teaching a lot of now in Soul Uprising work, of shifting into the afternoon of life, is that before you can move into the light, you have to go through the darkness, and all things begin in darkness. And Ariella is talking about the seeds that you planted. She talks about how those seeds, though, first have to go into dark, quiet soil, right? A baby begins in the dark, quiet womb. Right? The universe began in the dark tohu vavohu, Kabbalah describes it, before the Big Bang in physics. It was darkness. It was this quiet, dark void. And that void is not nothing, right? That is the pathway to something. But you have to go through nothing to get to something.
Right.
And that's really kind of where I think Shavuot and this time is we're coming out of nothing, out of the quiet, right, and into something. And this is the kind of the final piece before those plant sprouts shoot up out of the ground.
Right, exactly. There's an idea that there's a story about Elijah and the still small voice, and this idea, which I'll talk about in a moment, but this idea is that in order to come from nothing, that darkness that you said, and go to something, it's the important part of that is to drown out the outer noise. In receiving and finding that rebirthing process, we have to go through a period of building. It's built like a baby is born in the dark, but he doesn't just come out. He goes through this period of building. And so if you think about the levels of quiet that we need and the space that we need, or that seed needs to grow, it's about cultivating a relationship with your body, mind, and spirit, and ultimately the divine, so that when you come into this rebirthing process, when the baby comes out, he is surrounded by noise, right? He's surrounded by this chaos of the real world. But if we remember where we've come from, then we can take it out into the world. So there's this story about Elijah and the still small voice. When the prophet Elijah went to seek God on Mount Sinai, he sat down in a cave first and began to meditate. So he first established his practice of a relationship with the divine and himself. And then it said that as he went out into the desert, the winds came and the rain came and the chaos of the wind and the earthquake.
External world.
Right. All of the external noise came. And he said, where was God? God was not in the earthquake and the wind and the loud places. God was the still small voice within him.
And Elijah was known prior to this as a fiery personality, a fiery prophet. And that fire, I mean, it serves a purpose, right? But it can burn out of control. Look at the world around us today. It's a fine line between voicing your truth and destroying, even if you are right with that truth. And that was Elijah. And he had to go inward, back into that stillness, which is a return. I'm teaching a lot about remembering. We don't teach anybody anything you don't already know. We help people remember. That's what good teachers do for me. They help me remember what I am. It's not about, so Barb's on this, we talk a lot about this story about Michelangelo, who asked when he created David, how did you create David? He said, I didn't create David. I chipped away everything that wasn't David, right? So David was in the marble, the statue, and it's a chipping away and getting back to what is at the center of that marble, is that statue, is the essence. And it's about chipping away. And Elijah had to chip away, let go of all those things that weren't him, that were just noise,
right,
to get back to his essence.
Right. Something that I often teach are the levels of the soul. There's different levels of the soul. And so as you go through a journey process of the path to get inside of the marble and find your essence is through the stuff of life, right? So I've talked about this before, the physicality of life, the emotions, and all of our stored history and our traumas, our wounds, our memories. That is what makes us human. But so once I did this beautiful thing with a client this week, is that we literally, it was like going through the desert, is the shift inside the body, and then the layers of emotions that we store inside of it. So when you chip away, it's like going through the weeds, and when you get and pull all those weeds out, what you find is the plant that's growing. And like the seeds out in my backyard yesterday, my son and I, we sat outside for hours and we were trying to sift through to find which was the plant and which were the weeds. And so the weeds were, as we pulled them all, we were able to get through the body, get through the emotions and the stuff of the physicality of life. And then what we found were the actual plants that were growing. That is the soul, the ultimate neshama.
So we just celebrated Shavuot yesterday, which is the receiving of the Torah, of the Bible. And the question is asked, why the desert? Why not 1,000 other places? Why did it have to be the desert where these Israelites wandered and did their work? Because the deserts, in Hebrew, it's midbar. And then midbar is an interesting word because it's more wilderness, but we'll call it desert. It also means speech, right? To speak. And if you've ever been in the desert, we've been in the desert. Ariela's still pissed that I took her to the desert once and it was so hot and horrible.
Right when we got married.
Right, we got married. We're still married because we've overcome that desert.
We have, but we still talk about it.
Going out into the desert and having gone back to the desert a few times, there's a silence like nowhere else in the desert. There's no thing, nothing. No thing. And so it forces you not to be distracted by the beauty of the ocean or the beautiful mountain river, the mountains. Those are majestic. They're not lowly. They're not desperate. Right? You go to the desert and it's desperate. There's nothing. There's no thing. And so you have to go inwards because there's nothing to go outwards to. And when you go inwards, you start hearing the midaber, the speech, the noise, the weeds, but also the kol demamadaka that Elijah heard, the still small voice, authentic speech coming from within you or above you, beyond you. And so really thinking about what we've been doing over the past 7 weeks is sifting through the weeds in the garden, pulling those out, right? Getting rid of them, back to this place of nothing, of no thing. I know I'm talking a lot, but let me just finish this. Every tradition has a no thing practice, a nothing practice, a quieting. It isn't emptiness in the sense that it's desperate. It's emptiness and getting back to that quiet place where you can hear again. In Christianity, it's called kenosis. I've been studying quite a bit about it. It's this emptying practice. And in Buddhism, it's called shunyata, an emptying process. And in Kabbalah, it's called hishtapchut nefesh, an emptying process. And so we're going through this to empty ourselves out, to get back to that place of stillness.
And I think what you find when you get to that place, I keep thinking about the weeds or your marble, like chipping away, and you find that seed and that divine connection is something called in Hebrew called yichud. Yichud is this connection between yourself, and it's a divine communion. It's a divine connection. So when we shift and sift through it all, we, in the whirlwind of life, and in the desert, it's the desert in an analogy for our bodies is really the dark night of the soul. It's our shadow work, right? So when we can get through our shadow work, what we find is this yichud, this divine connection with our deepest part of ourselves and spirit. And really, ultimately, that is what Rabbi Yoel Glick says is the ultimate receiving. So that's the ultimate Shavuot, is receiving, so you can go out into the chaos of the world. So you can go downstairs to your kids and life and the craziness of the world, but you have yichud.
And Shavuot is beautiful because, and I know I'll speak to the people, our soul seekers on this conversation, because it's God as lover. It's not God as parent, God as father. Which is high holidays, if you can argue that, and it's much more vertical, patriarchal. Shavuot is yichud, which means to make love. It's divine union. And so what are you doing? Ariella, you said it beautifully. You're unifying, right, with the divine. There's no thing in between you. That's what true lovers achieve, is there's no thing, there's nothing that separates. So yichud means oneness. And this whole process, and Dalai Lama, I think it was Ram Dass who said it best, emptiness is not really empty. Emptiness is full of everything. The everything just isn't manifest. And so this emptiness isn't a brokenness emptiness that we're trying to strive for. It's a fullness emptiness, right? There's no thing standing between me and the divine, between me and the Sefirot that we've been experiencing, between me and God as the divine as lover.
Right. I really think that's in conclusion, I think that's what we do at Soul Centered with the people that we work with as our community, is especially in midlife. It is about going into the desert. It is about this period of time, Shavuot, midlife. It's this period of time of going into the darker night of the soul, of looking at your life and really being present in all of it, and all of the ways in which you grew up, and all of your experiences and all of your memories. And then there's this period of time during this afternoon phase of life where we say, here it is, holding it all. And how can I hold it and accept it and work through it, sift through those weeds, but to find the ultimate receiving, that nothingness between who we are and all of us and God.
And who we are and how we live. That's how we're working with clients all day, every day now, is really, and I've been doing a lot of studying around this concept to bring it into my practice. I'm enamored with when all these different traditions say the same thing in different words, but same thing. And Taoism talks about what's called Wu Wei. And Wu, I love it just because it sounds like what it is. Wu Wei is this flow. this divine energy flow, when you're in the flow. And so the morning of life is not about wu wei. It is not about divine flow. It is about working. And this is supposed to be this way, right? It's about working and achieving and struggling. It's the caterpillar climbing and building the cocoon and whatever. But then you go into this cocooning period. This is Sue Monk Kids, really a metaphor. You go in this cocooning period, and that's what we're talking about. Then you come out the other side, this butterfly, this wu wei, and you can just kind of flow in your life. And I see that in our clients. The afternoon of life provides you an opportunity to flow. There's wu wei in ways that you just can't when it's blazing hot morning.
Exactly. It's really an introduction and an awareness of the divine feminine, whether you're male or female. It is the flow of the divine feminine. It's if we bring it back to Shavuot and counting the Omer, it is the balance between being out in the world, chesed, and just going for it, and that softer balance of restraining and pulling back and finding God and the divine in the still small voice. So that is really the afternoon of life, is that dance between the two.
I'm going to end with Rumi, because who doesn't like to end with Rumi? A true lover is like a lute. It makes music only when empty. As soon as it is filled, the bard lays it down. If you are full of yourself, you cannot feel the sweet touch of the divine's fingers. Empty yourself and surrender, so here becomes intoxicated with the wine of nowhere, right? And so really thinking about this idea of nothingness leading to somethingness, from nowhere leading to somewhere. And that's the work we've been doing. And we're really honored that you've joined us now on our 8th and final week of this series.
But not our final week of soul-centered experience.
No, we just now started a new topic.
And you know what? If you have any topics, if you would like to hear about something that you're interested in, you want us to talk about it, just let us know in the chat box, or you can email us. As we shift in our experience this morning, the best way to, we can talk about it, but the best way to know the divine is to experience the divine. So we're going to close our eyes for a moment and just have a brief meditation, a part of our healing service this morning, to not only connect to our loved ones that need healing, but to get in touch with this energy, this mystical, magical energy inside of us that but often occurs when we are in a quiet moment. So closing the eyes and feeling your body and noticing the presence of your body, your emotions, and ultimately your spirit and your soul by taking a deep breath in and allowing the breath to be a bridge between all four. Allowing this beautiful breath to travel from your head all the way down into your toes, letting your energy go down into the earth, Mother Earth, letting Mother Earth ground you, take care of you as you bring your energy all the way up into the beautiful sky, Father Sky, the divine Mother, Father. And just breathing as we travel into the energy of Shavuot, of receiving. So maybe opening the palms and receiving. And as you take a deep breath in, feeling the energy of Chesed and Gevura at our right and left shoulders. The right side being this masculine quality of all of us. The intense, go-getting, outward energy of chesed, of loving kindness with no boundaries, just pure love. And balancing that with the softness and stillness of the divine feminine side, the left side of Gevura. And just allowing this divine, still, small voice to enter inside of your heart. Taking a deep breath in. And letting the energies of the last 7 weeks, whether you've been present to it or not, imagining that just the balancing of these two energies going down into your body, healing and washing away as if there's healing energy, washing away the imbalances And imagine at the center of your core, the center of your belly, is a seed that has been growing over the last 7 weeks in darkness. Imagine that this seed has been nurtured, given proper nourishment of your love, given proper nourishment to rest in the dark and grow in its own way. And allow the seed to grow, giving it light and love, watering it with your ideas and possibilities, living through this unknown in the darkness. And imagine as the seed is growing, it is being born into and rebirthing into the divine soul that you already are. Imagine that your wholeness is already here. You're just removing the weeds to discover it. And so see your beautiful seed grow into a divine plant, a divine flower, a divine awakening right in the center of your belly, your center of creativity, of openness, of possibility. And allow that to merge Yechud with the oneness that is all around you. And just notice if there were words, speech coming from this divine union, what would it be? What would your rebirthing process look like? What would be the openness of your language of it? And notice when we get stuck in the weeds that we can come back to this place of holy silence in our desert, inside of our bodies, our emotions, and our spirit. We can come back to whole. And so breathing in and maybe taking the palms together at your heart center and just physically taking the left and right part of your energy, the masculine and feminine, and combining them together in divine union. And you can open your eyes. And so as we, should we sing our song? As we head into the healing portion, again, just bringing up those that are in need of healing, and you can place their names, even if it's yourself, you can place your name or their names in the chat box so that we can bring their names into speech and bring them up into the divine. So we'll sing the song under Healing, Healer of the Brokenhearted. Healer of the brokenhearted, binder of their wounds, counter of uncountable stars, you know where they are. Healer of the brokenhearted, binder of our wounds, counter of uncountable stars, you know where we are. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Ana ena refanala, ana ena refanala.
So we'll and with remembering those who came before us. We're going to be doing a Father's Day legacy experience for anybody whose father is no longer physically in this world, but certainly with us emotionally and spiritually. And so we'll be honoring our fathers on Father's Day, but we're honoring everybody, of course, right now. Anybody who you're grieving, mourning in a mourning period, or just feeling like you're just missing, or maybe you're not missing because they're very much present in your life and you just want to formally connect. This is a small version, short version of Kaddish. It's an opportunity just to formally reconnect.
Yikada ve'yikadash Shemei Rabbah Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Me'almaya Yikada ve'yikadash Shemei Rabbah Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Me'almaya. May the one within and above bless us with your love. May the source of infinite light guide us in our life. May the one within and above bless us with your love. May the source of infinite light guide us in our life. Shalom, 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 shalom. Go ahead.
So thank you for joining us. We always love to hear your feedback. We had some technical difficulties today, so we're only on the Soul Centered Facebook group. I'll repost this on the Soul Centered page and YouTube and Twitter. We're trying to expand it, but it will always be here because you're our core, and so thank you for being our core. And I don't know, we have a lot of things going up. What do you have going on?
Right now, I have a group starting on June 7th at, I believe it's 7:30 p.m. You can email me to find out more. It is a women's, mother's circle, feminine goddess circle. So it's for all moms in midlife that want to really find and discover their needs and their desires within parenting. It's a huge passion of mine, not only parenting because I have 4 children, but also looking into the center of your life and looking at how you have spent a lot of years putting your needs behind others. Women are natural nurturers. We naturally want to help others and please others. And of course, when it comes to our family, we have been taught and we believe that it is essential to put people before us. And so what I've really come into personally and also in my profession, just helping so many moms in midlife discover that their needs and their desires are so important because we are the role models of our children. How do you want your son to treat his wife? How do you want your daughters to raise their children and be the matriarch of the household? And so when I looked at that, when I suddenly had to look at the idea that I was becoming a martyr and exhausted every single day, I really had to discover that I am being watched by little people. And so this is a 3-week period. We're going to have 3 sessions to discover and center your soul, find your wholeness, and find your desires and your needs and create them and make them important. The other thing that, do we have anything else going on together?
Not together.
You can always join me on Monday nights or just in general to the healing experience to figure out and discover how to find your wholeness. During midlife, I connect with spiritual midlife women to heal their body, mind, and their spirits so they can discover their wholeness, so they can find a passion and passion and purpose and really connect with their still small voice within. So I'm going to turn it to you.
Have a couple classes going on. One is open to the public. We're only going to have 10 to 12 seats available on Zoom. It's the Kabbalah, or it's soul-centered cinema, the Kabbalistic view of the journey of the soul, and we're watching 3 movies ahead of time and then discussing those movies and looking at Kabbalah and text around the soul's journey from this world to the next world and back again. We're watching The Sixth Sense, Defending Your Life, and What Dreams May Come. So you can sign up. Just go to the website or shoot me an email. There's a few seats left. And then a couple closed out opportunities, but we'll redo them for another group. We have a Soul Uprising, which is my now work, helping people shift into the afternoon of life with new rules, new goals, new tools. And so that is turning out to be a women's group. It doesn't have to be, but this particular one is. So if you're interested in that, email me. And then also a men's group around also soul-centered cinema. And we're watching 3 movies and discussing them. One is A Serious Man. One is American Beauty. And the other is Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner. And looking at text and having conversations and exploring midlife issues in that. So happy to hear from you and to gauge your interest and what you want to participate in. And with that, we will just keep chugging along with the Soul Experience every Saturday morning. So,
That is all there is.
love is all there is. That's why we're still married.
That is why. Okay, here we go. Love is all there is. Yai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai, dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai. Love is all there is. Love is all there is. Love is all there is. Love is all there is.
Love
Is all there is. Love is all there is. Yai dai 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 yai dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai.
Shalom, salam,
Namaste.
peace.
Peace. Have a beautiful week.